Good morning, Service Alliance community.
How you doing? Oh yeah, we don't. That was my fault. I started that.
we got
I
our thing.
I like being on here with you. You're a blast.
I'm a blast.
Yeah,
I'm something.
Our pre-conversations before this podcast starts going, that should be part of the show. I think sometimes there's now that needs to be recorded. You can take, excerpts of that from it's hilarious. Some of the conversations we had beforehand. So, and sometimes very inspired.
We're tired and we're slap happy.
Yeah, I'll drink to that water.
Yeah, me too. More
flavored
coffee.
It's what is this morning? This is a wild cherry this morning. Yeah. It's a good thing.
I got my blueberry coffee, and that's my regular. Good morning, Adam.
Wait, you said blueberry coffee?
It's a blueberry coffee by the Keurig company, Green Mountain.
Okay. I mean, my doc says I need to eat more berries, so I guess that would count, right? Blueberry coffee.
It's a really, if you like blueberries, it's a really good coffee.
Blueberries, strawberries. I love mango. I love papaya. I love pineapple.
None of that sounds good in a coffee, though.
No, but blueberry coffee, I don't know. It's kind of good.
It's good.
The whole coffee cup thing beforehand is got me thinking I need a cup of Joe right now. So yeah. Should have grabbed one.
Got my Florida coffee cup for.
How was Florida? How was Florida? You guys just got.
Good morning, Saul.
How was Florida?
It was good. I just got back from Clearwater. Spent about 4 days, 3.5 days down there. So I'd never been there before. It was a nice experience. Can't
Clearwater. Clearwater is beautiful beaches, like just beautiful.
Yeah. We went to their main beach is beautiful.
Yeah.
Right downtown, right in the middle of the main part where the pier is. I'll agree. That beach is absolutely beautiful. Very, very well taken care of and groomed. And we went to another beach that was equal distance from our condo the other way.
Yeah.
And it was still a public beach, but it was more in a state park area. And it was horrible. Like you couldn't even walk on it. It was just so bad. So,
well, pray us in there. See how this goes.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for today. I want to thank you for all these listeners, and I want to thank you for everybody that's going to watch this. Please be with us all as we go about our day, evening, whenever anybody watches this. Be with them. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. So we're talking about niching down today. That's our topic.
That is our topic.
So niching down in your home service company, how is that gonna make your company better or worse?
Yeah.
Does it lock you in, or does it expand your business? Does it make you stand out? And you've got a devotion that ties into this.
It was weird because I was reading our devotion as we get started, and it really ties into this pretty dang good. The title of it's called "The God of Our Personality," and it's based off of Romans 12, where it talks about that we have different gifts according to the grace that is given to each of us, right? And I've always been big on like the Myers-Briggs testing, the DISC assessments, things like that. And it even dives into that, talking about that. They can help us understand ourselves and others in helping, just like revealing ways, shedding light on our preferences, our strengths, our weaknesses. Provided we don't overuse them, they can be a useful tool God uses to help us grow. And so scripture doesn't offer a personality test, right? But it does affirm each person's uniqueness, in God's eyes. And they have a couple scriptures like Psalm 139, 14-16, Jeremiah 1:5. And it shows how God equips all of us with a unique personality and unique gifts to serve others in his kingdom. That's a big part of that. So Paul unpacks this idea of writing that we have different gifts according to the grace given us. It goes on and asks some cool questions like, what gifts has God given you to serve others? And it says, if you're not sure what your gifts are, you might help get a better sense of those who might help you get a better sense of those God-given gifts. So maybe we can help to shed a light on those God-given gifts today. Because I tell you, when we talk about like brand niching, you say niching, I say niching. Is it tomato or tomato? I don't know. Maybe we need a whole podcast just on that. But I specifically, in my electrical business, was big on, I found my niche and I stuck with it. And that was residential service and repair. We started out as a new construction company. Our electrical business was a third generation company, started in 68 by Shannon's grandpa. And we did a little bit of everything, a little bit of commercial, a little bit of new construction, a little bit of residential service. And it was just all over the place. And when Shane and I started taking over the business in 2003, we saw a really big need for residential service. And we were about 85% new construction in 2004. We had 10 guys, 6 trucks. We were doing work for about 18 contractors. And we lost our butt in 2004. Like for us, it was a $42,000 loss, in the hole that year. And for a small company, that was a lot of money, especially back then. So we saw this need for residential service. So we joined a group like this. And in a year and a half, we flipped our business to where we were doing 90% residential service and repair. I went down to 3 guys, 3 trucks, and we started being profitable. And it was just all in the little tweaks, right? So like one of the first things we started incorporating was a uniform. It was just a button-up shirt with our logo on there. And we started putting nice labeling on our trucks. It wasn't just the old white contractor. There's all kinds of weird things that are said about just plain white vans, but we'll leave that alone. And I even remember one of our customers, her name was Barbara. She's since passed away. She had called for service both before and after we had made this change. And she came to us one day and she goes, I just want to tell you how impressed I am with you, with the change that you made in your company. She goes, last time Gary came out, he was in bib. He was a pastor. He was in bib overalls, and they were holy bib overalls and a holy shirt, right? And she said, whenever he came out this time, he was dressed nice. It was just a totally different experience. And it was because we found a niche and we started just watering it and watching it grow, right? And then it came into what it was. So I love talking about niches and finding your path and your lane, staying within it, right? So we never looked back. We stuck with residential service. I finished my last new construction house in 2008, January of 2008, right before the crisis hit. And we were the only companies to sustain during that time. And I saw business after business after business close during it. So I know it was a God thing, him saying, hey, watch this. We never know what's going to happen, right? But, we were able to stay and stay within it. So, yeah. What about you?
It's hard figuring that out and making that decision because I was in the same boat. When I started my company, I just took on everything and anything. And I did everything.
Yep.
And I didn't know where to focus, and it's like sometimes you have to do that because it's feast or famine, right? Yeah. When it's the famine times, you get desperate and you start figuring things out, and you're like, but in doing that, you learn what you're not profitable and I can tell you right now, like for me building websites and doing SEO, some of these really large companies. I mean, I've worked for the Army. I've done different government contracts and non-profits and um just you name it, celebrities. I've done it for everybody.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend, and his niche is nonprofit. Like that's the industry that he serves. And that dude has struggled his entire
Mm.
career for 15 years doing that. And I'm like, why are you working with nonprofits? Like, he's like, well, just because it says nonprofit doesn't mean they don't have money. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah.
they're just hard people to work for,
Yeah.
and like government, I learned real quick, they want it now, and you're not getting paid until way, 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 way later. And it's gonna be the lowest ticket, gets the job, and so I started figuring all this out, and then I'm like, all right, I was dealing with a lot of celebrity clientele for a period, and I'm like, getting a lot of word of mouth from them and referrals and stuff. And I'm like, maybe I niched down in the celebrity game, but it was like, no, you want to talk about hard to deal with. Those people are hard to deal with. They're very, very eclectic, and it's just part of their world. I was like, I want no part of that.
No.
So
Yeah. I had my certain people I like to work for and not work for in the electrical world.
yeah,
And since this is public, I'll keep that a little private.
yeah. That's all I'll say too. But it's like you you have to like narrow down, and I was doing tons of different services, like
Yeah.
just anything that remotely touched what I did, in marketing. I spread myself out there, just trying to find what niche is good. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
cast a wide net
Yeah.
just when you're figuring it out. But I mean, this was very early 2000s that I was doing this, and I was like, I got to stop this. So now
So
I'm just web design, SEO, and Google Ads management, and that's all I do. And I don't do anything else.
yeah. Another one for me was I consider it bad advice. It was a learning experience. We paid a business coach a lot of money for a couple years, and that business coach was all about you should be in everything that touches the home services world, right? You're an electrician, you should be in the heating and air world as well. You should be in the plumbing world as well. You should be in the home remodeling world, bathroom remodeling, basement and crawl space funding, fixing. If it touches the home and the service world, you should be in it. And it's like, oh yeah, gung ho, let's go, let's do this. And so the first thing we did is we got into heating and air, and we sucked at it for 4 long years. We sucked at it because I'm an electrician. We never hit a cap. We never hit a roof, right, in the electrical world. And I think that was a huge wake up call and learning experience, that until you reach a point that you just cannot do anymore and you're very profitable in that world, there is absolutely no reason, unless you're just bored and you've got money to burn, to get into another trade. I'm sorry, that's my own personal experience. If you have something else out there and you've had a better experience for it, I applaud you. Congratulations. For us, it was the worst thing we ever did, was trying to get into a different trade. And now when I look back at it, it's like, man, we had so much more we could have done in the generator world, in surge protection world. There's so many little things that we just kind of left hanging from the tree that we could have just ripened so much better and just built that ceiling and built that ceiling. And then finally, whenever we blew through that ceiling, you got a whole nother floor and a whole nother ceiling to go through. That's really where a trade should have came through. So when I coach and mentor guys now, I'm just like, let me tell you how not to do things, because I want you to learn from my experiences where I lost money and I lost my shirt because of listening to somebody else that gave me what I felt was bad advice. Now I've seen others.
It's a lot less painful learning from other people's mistakes than your own.
Yeah. I've seen others that have done well with it, but they had a bigger bigger ceiling to fill, right? Or they had a smaller ceiling to fill. So same thing when it comes to your trade. Like if you're out there watching this, post on there like some of the trade or some of the niches that you found in your appliance world, plumbing, roofing, whoever may be watching, that you found like this has been a great niche for me. I'd love to hear some others, especially coming from the appliance world.
Saul's got a question. Speaking of that,
yeah,
that 42K that you lost, would you say it has to do with low margin bids to builders, since everyone is bidding on the same project, also working for contractors? They don't pay until they get paid.
all of the above. So for me that year we had 18 contractors that year. Um, 3 of them had came to me, and these are contractors like we had been doing work for years, right? A couple of them, even Shayna's grandfather had done work for. So I mean, this was a long history of being able to work for these guys. But we had 3 of them come to us. I remember come to me within 1 week and like, hey, we got to get our numbers down. Where can you cut some corners on this? And that's when it hit me. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in the new construction world, because if they want me to cut corners, and I said this to all 3 of them, my name's on this, I'm not cutting corners. If that's how you're going to be, you need to find another electrician. And I kid you not, within 6 months, we had one of the guys that was working for us. He thought I was stupid for getting into the residential service world. And so he left, and he took more than half those contractors with him. And at first I thought, man, this is horrible. What are we going to do? Because that was our bread and butter as we was building the residential service side. But we later saw it, because God sees the bigger picture. We later saw it as a blessing, right? Because even with him, a year and a half later, I think it was a year and a half or 2 years later, he had to shut his business completely down and file for bankruptcy, because he took our headaches away from us, So it was a blessing. But yeah, low margins for sure, Saul. And contractors, you know how they are when you're doing new construction. It's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months for a payout. It's just not worth it. And I will advise you this, because the coaching group that we were part of in 2004, we joined, they said, quit construction today and just do all residential service. If we had done that and taken that advice, we would have went bankrupt too, because that new construction was the hands that fed the mouth while we were building up. It was our bread and butter while we were building up the residential service side. So, and again, it took a year and a half, but it was well worth it. So for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you talking about cutting corners, being approached to cut corners. I've been in the situation to where, you're doing a steady amount of work for somebody, and everybody's looking to cut corners, and I'm all about giving like a loyalty deal. If you're working for a some kind of management company, and they're giving you steady work, I don't see a problem giving them a deal, if it's earned. I don't give them a deal, until they earn it.
Yeah.
But,
hey, what kind of price can you give me?
Right. But when they call wanting to get a lot further deal, you get into this race to the bottom. Is what it is. And it's like, sometimes you got to talk to them, to people like that, and say, hey, I'm already giving you a discount based on our relationship and the volume that you give me. But, I can't keep doing this, and if that's the way it's going to be, I'm not in this to race to the bottom. And if you're happy with me, I'm worth something.
Yep.
Don't chase me don't beat me out of business, is, I guess, the best way to put it. If that's what you want, go find someone else. And
100%.
you've got to walk away from those types of deals.
Yeah. Niches too. once you find your niche, whatever you want to call it, then find out what is the most profitable in those areas. So, as an electrician, once we found that residential service is the way we're going to go, residential service for us, I found being most profitable was our panel changeouts, meter service changeouts, surge protection, read devices. So read devices where we go into an entire home and just change out all the receptacle switches, redo the connections, install boxes if we need to. Those were some of our most profitable ones. Rewires are always the most profitable for us. And it's crazy because I can go in a house and spend on average 5 to 7 days with a crew of 2 or 3 and rewire an entire house, sometimes even less than that. I remember some houses we got done in like 3 days, and we're talking anywhere, well, back in the day it was 10, 15,000. I had one rewire at one point, it was $44,000. It was a house. I've only come across 2 houses with aluminum wiring, and one of these houses had aluminum wiring. It ended up being a $44,000 rewire. But the cool thing about that is that even still to this day, that was early to mid 2000s, and even still to this day, I'm still friends with those people. We talk on Facebook, and cool people, and it just came down to the trust that was built and the education that was given for them to trust me with $44,000 worth of work, even in the mid 2000s, right? So find your niche within your niche, even. So the things that are most profitable, like I've created a homeowner's guide. I don't have one sitting with me, but homeowner's guide that has those most profitable things inside of it, and it talks about them and educates the customer. I call it my coloring book for adults. So.
It's like I see this in the appliance repair world. There are so many companies out there that obviously they do their appliance repair, but they're doing residential and commercial, and dryer vent cleaning, and they just do small appliance repair, not just major appliance repair. And they're also fixing or doing warranty work on things like drills and sawzalls, those types of things. And it's like, man, how do you even survive? Being all over the place like that.
If I was to start up an appliance repair company today, it would be 100% residential only. And one of my big focuses would be, besides servicing appliances, would be dryer, vent cleanings, dryer cleanings. That when I went and ran with a few of the guys in the appliance group here, I was just amazed at how disgusting, filthy dryers are. Like the first time I went and rode with EJ and his guys, I came back, I took my dryer apart and cleaned it because I'm just like, I don't want my house to catch on fire. I mean, you pop open that dryer and you see all the stuff. The first thing I'm going to do is show and tell. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, come here. I want to show you something here real quick. This is the first thing. I didn't even touch your dryer. I just took this piece apart here. And look what I found. This is not good. What do you think we should do? That's all you got to do. I mean, I've got some pictures from riding with EJ's guys. I'm just like, oh my gosh, how is this house not burned down yet? So that would be one of my big focuses, would be dryer cleanings, dryer vent cleanings. And it'd be strictly residential. I mean, there's so much good opportunities to build a good company there. So anyway, and around here, we've got really one major competitor, and they have a retail store too. And they've ended up opening a couple locations, and they're just okay. They're not good at service. They're not good at answering their phones. They're not that great at service. So there's money to be made there. That's for sure. So if you do things right, you treat customers right, man, it's a no-brainer. Losing a customer that you are losing money on is not necessarily a bad thing. Heck no. You can't operate a business on low margin. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just
Nick
amazing.
says you can replace the vent for a fraction of cost of cleaning it. That depends on the vent.
Yeah.
Because like my dryer vent is literally only this long before I got the hose that goes to the dryer.
Yep.
So for me in that case, yes. But my neighbor, like he's got this huge long tube, and it's got some angles that go up. And the only reason I know that is because I helped him get a hell of a massive amount of bird nests that build up in there over the years. And I couldn't believe how much crap came out of it when we cleaned it and how long it took us to clean it. And it was crazy. So I definitely, Nick, your comment isn't always true. It depends on a lot of factors.
So yeah, and it comes down to providing solutions too. So I rode with EJ. This was not too long ago. Man, it's back in February. I rode with EJ. That's cool. That hasn't been too long. But providing solutions, right? So this one lady we went to, she had a bad heater coil, and same thing. We took the dryer apart. It was filthy, disgusting. The whole vent needed cleaned out, and so it was coming up to, hey, how are you going to educate her? The solution to this is to clean out the dryer and the vent and replace the heater for you. This should bring you back up to near factory condition. The total of what we're going to do for all this is X amount with the X amount guarantee. And then he said, if I just clean out the dryer and replace the heater melon, it's only this much, but the warranty is only this much. And then simply put, which solution would you like me to do for you today? And she's like, well, I can't necessarily afford to do the big one. I want to do that. And so we came up with payment plans, right, through financing. And it's a matter of, that's another thing I found, is you can't just give one price, one solution, because then you're no better than everybody else. And you end up getting that rebuttal of, oh, well, I want to get, a couple other prices on this. Whereas if I'm giving them 2 or 3 different solutions, it's like I'm giving them 3 different estimates, right? And then it's just simply, hey, here's the different solutions. What would you like me to do?
Love options.
Yeah.
They like being able to choose. And that's, talking about niching down. You can niche down in your pricing, and start providing, multiple options like that, where your competitor might only be doing one option.
100%.
So, I mean, you're niching down at different levels within your business, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I recently did that with my own business. I started up a whole other company, another, registered LLC, so that I could have another option in a different way at a lower barrier to entry for a service company that wants websites. Yeah. And I just launched it like a month ago. So when I'm talking to people, I'm like, okay, you got this option, which is our standard option, but I've got this over here,
dude,
and here's the differences between the two.
Yeah.
Which one would you like to do?
That's funny you say that. We're Shane and I are going through the same process with pricing, right? So we have 2 different levels of clients with our company now. One wants the concierge services. They want us to be their back office and take care of all their office needs. And then we have others that just wants us to answer phones, schedule dispatch or text. That's it. So it hit me last week that our pricing structure needs to get revamped to focus on those 2. So it's niching down, right, to focus on your client's needs. So that's one thing, hopefully within the next month, we'll be rolling out. So I'm pretty stoked about that, because I'm getting a lot of good feedback from a lot of our clients about, okay, can you focus on just my needs? And then, hey, I have other clients who are like, I need you to do more for me. It's a no-brainer.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, like in my case and yours, talking about not apples to apples, but similar situations, you're dealing with people that have different budgets, right? Yep. They're in different stages of life. So, you may be dealing with maybe some new homeowners. They're young, they're newlyweds, and they're young and they don't have a lot of money and they don't understand all this stuff. Yeah. So they can't afford your most expensive option that you obviously want to sell, that might be your most profitable. But if you give them options, at least they know the high and low end, and maybe they'll pick the low end, but you got the job and at least you got something. And maybe in the future, because they're loyal to you, if there is such a thing these days, they will eventually be able to pay for that higher ticket item, down the road, and at least know it's an option with you.
100%. I've learned that being that honest service expert pays off every time. Like I mentioned, I've had clients that had been with me for decades that still use me. And I still have some of them messaging me. It's like, hey, I tried calling the office, but it says that you're no longer taking service calls. And and it's not I want to make sure I get your service. Literally, it's been, are you doing okay? Is everything all right? And I love that, because it's the friendship first before business aspect. So taking that back to what you said, they'll remember you. They will remember you. You give them solutions. You ask them what they would like for you to do, and they'll figure it out. I can't afford this. I would like to do that later on, but they'll go with what they can do for now, and they'll remember you. They will. It's
when you give someone one price, that's the level. All right. And then you get beaten down from there. Right. They want the discount from there. You're never ever going up over that price, very rarely, unless it's something that was completely unexpected, that you have to charge for. But the customer sees it as, okay, here's where it is. I can beat them down from there. And that just drains you, right? When you're dealing with that with certain customers. But usually when you give multiple options, those numbers don't move. It's very, very few times. Okay, yeah, they know that there's a lower option, but they don't beat you up. As much. The percentage of people that beat you up on that lower price is like a lot more minimal at that point.
This can lead into a whole nother podcast, like talking about pricing and solutions.
We should talk about that next week.
Next week I'll be in Georgia, but I actually may be able to join you. I gotta see, that's 4th of July. Are you doing a podcast 4th of July?
I'll be here 4th of July.
I'll see if I can make it on there. We're camping out down at Stone Mountain, Georgia for the 4th of July. I love that place. Great history with my family. I've been going there since I was 12. And they have an incredible fireworks display for 4th of July. So I'm taking my family down there to have a good hoorah. But all right, so we were talking about jokes. I know time flies. You're having fun.
Yeah.
So
let's wrap it up with a joke.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to pick a good one here. Then it's a little bit of a story. So, all right. So a social media marketer lost his job and went to work on a farm. Right. He worked hard, but had this one weird quirk. Every morning he would do a belly flop into the hog trough. Okay. So after a few days, the farmer just had enough. He said, "You city folks sure are strange." The farmer said, "Why are you always flopping head first into the pig slop?" "Sorry for the force of habit," the social media marketer replied. "I'm trying to make an impression in your feed."
That's that was way too long of a setup for such a poor dad joke.
All right, here's the short one then. Why did the marketer dump her boyfriend? Lack of engagement. Lack of engagement. Yep.
Lack of engagement. There you go.
These are silly marketing dad jokes.
We got to find some better sources of some jokes.
Yeah,
for sure next week.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and get over to the servicealliancegroup.com If you're not a member, join our Facebook groups. You can find out a lot of information about us over there, and we'll see you.
Wait.
Oh,
What's coming
but
up
wait,
July
there's
22nd?
more.
What's coming up July 22nd?
We actually are postponing that until the fall.
No.
Yes.
This is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah, we just made that decision late last week. So
I was looking forward to that. Okay.
Yeah. So we're postponing it till the fall.
Hey,
give everybody more lead time.
You get to spend time with your family on July 22nd. That's what you get to do.
Absolutely. And I'll probably just go camping that weekend since I had
Sounds like a plan. Well, I mean, come down here to Southern Illinois, and you can camp out that weekend down this way. Just saying.
Yeah.
I got full hookup in my house.
I'm camping this weekend, and some friends are camping with us next weekend, so
cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Hey, make it a great week.
All right. Everybody, you make it a great week. Yeah. All right. Talk to you later.
Have a good one.